one. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today we are speaking with Andrea Wandersee. She is the Executive Director of the Northeast Hawley Development Association, also known as NEHDA, and excited to have you here today. You provide so many services to the Northeast community neighborhood, and I'd love to hear about it. And especially during these changing times as services are probably changing. So I want to give you an opportunity to share what you did prior, because someday maybe we'll be back to prior, and people will know what your basis is and what your foundation has been set up on by sharing with us a typical day. So let's go 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. And what would that look like for you and NEHDA?
All right. Well, NEHDA is a neighborhood preservation company that facilitates community development and promotes strong and safe neighborhoods, thriving businesses, and active civic engagement. The primary way we do that is to focus on housing and neighborhood development. We have a very long history. NEHDA was established in 1974 and has done a whole range of services over the decades. Right now, our primary focus is housing counseling and small business support. And so 5 or 6 weeks ago, my staff, there's 3 of us, would focus on working with families who are in a lower income bracket, low and moderate income families, and helping them find and maintain quality, affordable housing. So someone might be looking for a place to live, and they can call and work with our housing counselor, and she keeps track of a list of apartments that are a little more affordable on the north side. We wish there were more affordable apartments on the north side, but we certainly try and help people identify places to live. We will also work with people who are having difficulties with their landlords. And so it might be the fact that they're not able to make rent. It might be a situation where there's been a miscommunication. Occasionally there'll be a conflict between a landlord and a tenant. And we try and work with them and encourage them to communicate directly with their landlord, try and problem solve. We also make referrals to other agencies, particularly our volunteer lawyers and legal services, because there are 2 great agencies that that advocate for low-income families and particularly renters. So we make a lot of referrals to other agencies. We know as a small agency we can't do everything that our families need. And Onondaga County is really rich in services. So we make sure that we are connected with the network and that we make referrals to agencies that do other things that we're not able to provide. We work very closely with home headquarters on home ownership issues and property development. We just finished up our SHARP applications, which is a home headquarter program that provides a $1,500 grant to low-income families to do maintenance on the exterior of their home. That's a once-a-year program. It's really, really in high demand, and we're really glad to be a part of that initiative. We do a lot of work with small businesses, and we provide technical support, especially if somebody's opening a business and they need to navigate City Hall. They need to get a special permit. They need to go up in front of Planning Commission. They need to provide their drawings, and they need to kind of go through that whole system. And we know City Hall is trying to make that process easier, but there's still a series of steps that someone needs to take. And so we try and help small businesses navigate that process. We support the Northside Business Partnership, which is a coalition of small businesses on the north side that do advocacy work and try and maintain the neighborhood and promote their businesses and create a larger environment that's conducive to successful business on the north side. We also do a lot of community development. If a neighbor's having a concern, if they have an issue that has to do with either the physical plant of the neighborhood, or there might be some sort of crime issue or behavior issue, we will interface with neighborhood watch meetings when there's problems in the neighborhood. And we'll try and create an environment for people to have community conversations when it's needed.
Amazing. I mean, that's so much. It's really a lot of services, a lot of things that I'm sure people can really take advantage of and be able to take care of problems. So that's wonderful. So let's go to yesterday, or the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
How have you had to adjust, and what changes have you made?
Right. Well, we are really fortunate in that we are able to do a lot of our work remotely. Obviously, we prefer to be in the office. We prefer to have open doors. We prefer to be face-to-face with people. The first thing we did when we realized that we were not going to be in the office, I got Google Voice phone numbers for everybody, which is just a way for us to connect our cell phones, give a public cell phone number that doesn't violate my staff's privacy. Excuse me. Sorry. I basically grabbed all my files that I use regularly and packed them up to go home. And my staff, my housing counselor, Lori, she printed out a bunch of resources, the 211 page, information page. And for those who don't know, 211 is a number you can call, just like 911, and it connects you to all the services in the city. So if somebody needs food, housing, if they're having domestic violence issues, if you name the issue, call 211, they will navigate you through it. So we made sure that information was displayed prominently on the door with our phone numbers. I went and updated the website, which,
Right.
we tend to rely on Facebook a lot for our messages, and I've gone back to using the website as a more regular update place. One of the things we've done for a long, long time, certainly before I was here, was a weekly e-blast. That goes to about 2,500 people, and it tells people what's going on at NEHDA, but what else is going on in the neighborhood. It has a little events section. It's very brief normally and streamlined. And during the COVID situation, we're very, very disciplined about just having it once a week and having it brief so it's accessible for people. We've upped that a little bit. We've sent out a couple a week because so much information is coming at people. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm drinking through a fire hose of information and making sure that I'm staying on top of especially the federal stimulus package and what's going on for small businesses, and how the government's trying to help individuals, and what some of the changing rules and expectations are, and keeping people abreast of that in a way that's concise and clear and easy to digest. But we have sent out a couple of those a week instead of just one. Again, my housing counselor, Lori, she developed an online housing intake form. So that actually just went up this week. And that's going to allow people who need our help to just go up and fill out that form, give us all the information we need to start the process of helping them. I think I called it an inquiry form. And that allows us to get that main information and then start the process of giving them the support that they need. It also will allow our other nonprofits to provide referrals to us. So it'll be a quick and easy way for someone to say, oh, here's someone I'm working with. say, on food issues, and they have housing issues, and they can just go online and fill that out. So we're sharing that with all of our partners now. My program director, Taisha, finished up the SHARP applications. She did go into the office more. She kind of needed to be in there, but she was alone and handled, more than 25 SHARP applications this year for people. And that's the program where they can get maintenance done on the exterior of their home. She also administers our VITA tax prep site. And that's one of the things we were really disappointed with. We had to cancel the free tax prep that we offer to people at this time of year. And this was the first year we were a site. And so we did 3 Saturdays and we had to cancel one. But as things reopen, we're hoping to be able to do that again. And she's actively engaged with the Cash Coalition, which is a group that provides that service. So again, working with other agencies, figuring out what makes sense, figuring out how we can help people. I think for us, and I've been doing a ton of small business stuff, which I can talk about in a minute. But as far as individuals and families and housing, which is our primary concern, we do not think we've seen the worst yet. We feel like things are still pretty stable. There's a moratorium on evictions. A lot of people are getting unemployment for the time being. But we fully expect that in the coming weeks and months, housing instability is going to become a very, very serious problem for people, not just on the north side, but throughout the city and throughout the county. So we are talking with the Housing and Homeless Coalition and talking with the foundations that are providing financial support to agencies to help people, and making sure that we're trying to think forward about what is it that we can do to help people as that becomes more and more of an issue moving forward. And at the moment, we know there's not going to be enough money to fix everything, but we're working on strategies now to see how we can support people during that time that's around the corner. Yeah, it's a huge concern.
Yeah, and it's great to see that you're planning now for it. Also, I'm so impressed with this community and talking to people and how many people are working together and all of the coalitions. And, just like you're saying, we anticipate this problem, so we are reaching out to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and we're all getting together and we're all finding a way to prepare for it and find solutions now for something that's coming up. And I just can't, I'd love to believe that this is happening everywhere, but I am so impressed with the county and upstate for all of the connections and all of the ways everyone's planning on working together and everyone's planning on supporting each other and already do. And so because those relationships were already set, now it becomes easier to be able to really reach out and say, I need you here. How do we work here? What are we going to do together? Who's going to take this on? It really gives hope, every time I talk to someone.
Absolutely. And I think the point you made that these relationships have existed for a long time. And organizations like the Human Services Leadership Council, the encouragement that funders, particularly the Community Foundation and Gifford and the Allen Foundation, have always encouraged us to work collaboratively, to do more together, to make sure that we are thinking broadly about how we provide services and not just from the perspective of our own agencies, is a huge community asset, and it's a habit, I believe. And it's work. It's not like, oh yeah, I just did this today. It takes a lot of work to stay on top of that and make sure that you are committed to your own mission and moving your own mission forward and doing it within this network of other organizations. And, for NEHDA, we focus on the north side. And so that's part of what makes us special is that we come to it from a neighborhood perspective. And then there's a lot of other organizations like CNY for Housing that serve 13 counties. And we need both. We need both kinds of approaches to have a strong, healthy community. Yeah, so I'm really glad to be a part of this network. And I'm really glad to have great staff. I have a wonderful board of directors. Um, I'm working really closely with Northside Up, which is uh, now part of Center State CEO, but also focuses on the North Side. And we are in communication every day. And Northside Up keeps the North Side agencies in communication on a weekly basis. And we are calling local businesses and finding out how they're doing and what they need, encouraging them to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Disaster Loan Program. And the banks are inundated with those applications.
Yeah.
And it's hard to figure out exactly, it's a little intimidating to say, oh, am I going to go in for this? And is the loan really going to get forgiven? What do I need to do to make sure I'm not going to get stuck on the hook for this? And what happens if at the end of the 8 weeks we still have to close our doors? And business owners are in a terrible position right now, many of them, because either they have to close their doors and they have to figure out whether or not they're able to pay people or how they are able to support themselves and their families, or they're an essential business and they're inundated with demand and they have to manage their staff and employees safely and provide services safely. And I don't think either one of those situations is easy right now.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things we did right away, using the Northside Business Partnership website, we went through a bunch of local Northside businesses with a focus on restaurants and markets, and created a site that indicates who's open and what their hours might be, what their situation is, if it's like delivery or pickup, or how they've adapted to the current situation. And I know the downtown committee is doing similar sorts of things, but that way anyone who wants to go ahead and see if there's Ethiopian food available to get delivered instead of ordering from Applebee's, well, yeah, let's get people getting some of those wonderful ethnic restaurants, giving them support instead of going to maybe a national chain when they're going to order in for a night. So that was one thing we did right away. And then we've also created on that same website a list of emergency resources, and connecting a link to Center State CEO, which is a great partner, and the Small Business Administration and the Small Business Development Association. So again, partners. And as a small organization, we know we can't do everything. So what we want to do is make sure that we are creating a personal connection with individuals, families, and business owners, and connecting them to the resources that might help them through some of this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be difficult navigating who do I go to for this, and who do I go to for this, and who do I go to for this, and who's open, and who am I going to hear back from, and who's inundated and I'm not going to be able to hear back from them. So by setting up that collaboration too, you're able to open up a lot of venues for people to be able to get the information that they need. And I'm finding that a lot of times when I get off of an interview with someone, I'm thinking it's so important that people know that they're there and they're there to help, and what services they offer, and how do we get that out there. So hopefully this will make a little difference in everything you're doing, and people will see that this community is really, really working to serve everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about empathy. Obviously connection, listening to need, all of that is empathy, but if you could share a little bit about maybe how you make that part of your strategy.
Yeah. Well, I think we've always made empathy a part of our strategy, and that certainly predates me and my current staff at NEHDA. I have a board member who's been on since 1974, and he's done extensive work in the neighborhood. He's worked with tons of new Americans on legal issues and getting them settled. And he does it through his work at NEHDA, but he does it through his work with his church. NEHDA was actually founded by one of the priests at St. Vincent's. So we have a long history
Really?
of Vincent's. Yeah. NEHDA also helped with other neighbors establish Dr. Weeks Elementary School back in the 70s and the Syracuse Northeast Community Center. So looking at the neighborhood and saying, what do you need?
Right.
What makes sense right now? And developing a plan around that has always been our approach. And it's always asking the question, what is it that you need? So next week, and I just announced it yesterday, we are going to have our first virtual neighbors meeting. And we're going to focus on Hawley Green. Just to be clear, we serve the entire north side from Burnett all the way up to Hiawatha and from State Street over to Teal. So maybe exception of maybe some of the more affluent neighborhoods there. But we do not just focus on the Hawley Green neighborhood. This particular neighbors meeting, we're going to start with Hawley Green because that's where we traditionally have done our neighborhood watch. And then we'll reach out to other neighborhood groups throughout the community and see if they would like to do a virtual meeting as well, because people are scared and they're disconnected and they are seeing things that are frustrating to them. We know not everybody's following the stay home guidelines, and we know some people have to go out and work, and we know some people have to go out and shop, and a lot of people have to take public transportation. A lot of people are home with their kids, and boy, those moms of younger kids right now, they're working double duty, I think, because it's just a lot. And so we're hoping to create a forum where people can come and talk, and we might be able to learn more and come up maybe with some strategies. We don't know. We might just be able to listen. Right. So that's definitely something we're addressing. But everybody, well, I hope everybody knows that you can't have a happy, healthy, successful life without a stable home. And that has always been NEHDA's premise, that you need to have a home. And if you don't have a stable home, nothing else in your life can really solidify and grow.
Right.
So,
It's that foundation that you can build on to have a job and have a family and be able to take care of yourself. And yeah, it is the basis. I agree.
and be somewhere when you don't feel well,
Yeah.
right? How can you shelter in place if you don't have a stable
Right.
home? Because of course why they have the moratorium on evictions, which is a good first step. So how does empathy play into this is understanding that everybody's got challenges in their life, and to hear people come to you with a problem, they're putting trust in you, right? It's an honor to have somebody share a problem with you, and to be able to hear that problem and identify ways that you may or may not be able to address it, or connect them with somebody who can address it. It's an honor. And I think recognizing that the trust people give you is something to cherish. So that's how I think we approach our work. We try and do it with some levity. I've got a really wonderful staff. Taisha and Lori are awesome. They're smart and proactive and fun. And so we try and create a nice environment in the office for one another and also for the people who come in.
Yeah, we are extremely fortunate also to have that wonderful staff together, and it definitely makes a difference, and staying connected is so important. And so that community outreach program of just showing that you're there and just being there to connect, and if it is just listening, that's all it needs to be. So that's beautiful. I just want to touch back on one thing too regarding having children at home and how people might be struggling with that. And that is a 211 call also. If you have any questions, situations, anything you want to talk about, definitely that's the number to call to help you through day to day, and maybe even, activities for children of different ages and things like that.
Yeah. One fun thing my staff is pulling together right now is next week's Earth Day.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've always done neighborhood cleanup. And we'll be encouraging people to do a personal adopt a block, not a big group initiative, but certainly reminding people now's the time to go out and not only clean up your own yard, but go ahead and grab that bag and pick up some of the trash on the street while you're at it. It makes everybody's environment a little nicer. But we're going to do the Earth Day website's doing a virtual Earth Day this year. And so the staff are going through that and identifying some fun things, especially for young people, that we'll be sending out and sharing on social media and all that jazz. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much. And is there anything else that you would like to just add in before we end this?
Oh, I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, I think we're all just doing our best, right? And I just feel really fortunate to be a part of a network of agencies that are trying to address some of our most vulnerable, but right now we're all a little vulnerable. And I'm just really glad to have important things to do every day. So
I agree. It's getting a purpose, finding what you can do and putting that purpose out and finding a way to serve. And I think it really helps to fight any of the fear and things like that if we can find that. So thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed talking with you. Absolutely. And I will look forward to hearing more of your interviews too. This is a great project.
Thank you, Andrea. Take care of yourself, okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye.